there, it's Sunday morning, and I just released the video on making this thing right here, which is something I started to think about and design after I built my precision miter sled, which is right here. I'll take it down. And you can see the obvious difference here. This is compact and less hassle, while this one here is probably a lot more accurate, or it can be anyway, mainly because the scale is a lot bigger, right? When you have a big scale, you increase the accuracy because you can more closely line it up, like line up the edge of your fence. That's the way this one works, with the lines that are on the thing. But yeah, the big problem with this is the size of it, the bulk. At the end of the day, I've gotten to the point where I'm always reaching for the easier solution. So that would be this one. And a couple of key features with this is that it's 100%, well, not 100%, it has screws and plastic handles, and washers, but it's made from wood, so it's something that you can make yourself. This protractor, I got this in the same place that I got the protractor for these, like the precision fence over there, and that's on a website called blocklayer.com. I think that's the name of it. And it has this it has this app where you can design the size of the protractor and include various features in it. And that's what I did here. I designed this to fit on, well, like I wanted to make this as big as I possibly could. So I measured the distance from my miter slot to the blade, and 8 inches for the diameter of the protractor, the round protractor, turned out to be the right size. So that's what I made, and I printed it off. And then I glued it on here, well, double-sided taped it on here. And yeah, so there's that. The fence, of course, moves back and forth, and I calculated that based on the swing. You know, you want the fence as close to the blade as you possibly can come, right? You don't want to have any gap there, so that you can do that with these knobs on the back. Slide it back and forth. And also another interesting feature is this right here that allows the extension to fold back out of the way when you're not using it. Like when you don't need the extension and you don't need the stop block, because otherwise the stop block gets in the way. Here it is. My mini table saw sled has the stop, like a place for the stop block on the back here. So you physically unscrew it, slide it out, and then you have to try to locate it in here, right? And like I said, you know, if it's too difficult, like if there's a little bit of difficulty involved, then I'm not going to do it. So most of the time when I need a stop, all I do is just make a mark. And there are quite a few marks on here where I've done that. And that's probably the best way to do it, because whenever you've got stock between the blade and a stop, you run the risk of kickback because it can get jammed in there, right? So a mark, like a pencil mark there, and you line up the edge of your stock with the pencil mark, that's always better, especially for small stuff. So I've got a couple things that I need to do with this. First of all, I need to rebuild the stop block. I made a mistake when I first built it, and I made the knob on the back, and it really should have been on the front like it is here, except this angled block in here is oriented the wrong way, and it should be fastened to this black back clamp part. Also, I made that part too long, so it wouldn't clear the thing on the back here. But I also, when I cut it a little bit too short. So I'm going to rebuild this. Also, another thing is the size of this knob extends past the thing, so I'm going to make it a bit wider. So rebuild that. This feature right here, I really like. It's that sliding dovetail that makes this extension lock in place. And that's something that doesn't have to be perfect. It's just there more or less to, you know, for the stop block to clamp onto, right? So it doesn't have to be perfectly straight in line with this, right? Whatever stock you're going to, like when you're cutting stock, it needs to be up tight against this. That back there, it really doesn't matter as long as it's not sticking out. And of course, it's not doing that. I mentioned in the description on that video that I was going to do a couple things and make a separate video on this channel this week. And the first one would be to add a magnet back here so that this stays folded back and won't be flopping open. Right? It'll just catch it, right? So it'll be like a rare earth magnet glued on here that'll contact a screw over here, the head of a screw, and that'll stick it in place. Or I may just use 2 magnets if that's not strong enough. Also, a pin system that will lock the protractor or the guide in at an angle. And the way you do that is you set it up on your saw, you make a bunch of cuts until you have it absolutely perfectly at the angle that you want. So the first one would obviously be 0. Right, so you get it perfectly dialed in for that, and then you drill a hole, like right behind this handle here, straight down and through the guide cleat on the bottom, so that you have a locking pin location for that angle. Then you set it up for, say, 22.5. I cut a 22.5 degree a bunch to make this frame here. Set it at 22.5, right? On both sides, do the same. You know, you get it lined up perfectly. It's going to take a while to do this, of course, but like this goes for any. I mean, there are ones that are really super accurate, but they cost money. So yeah, you get it dialed in at 22.5, and then you drill through the hole that's already here in the guide up through the plywood to get the second pin location. And you do the same for 22.5 on the other side, and again for 45. So I said enough about that. What else have I got going on? I started and mostly finished another project this week that'll be ready for next Sunday. And it's not a shop project. It's more for the house, but I wanted it and I thought it was interesting, so I did it. Before I go, I've got one other thing I want to talk about, and that's comments on YouTube. I've talked about comments before, and you know, I've based a lot of my videos on this channel on comments. But over the past 3, maybe 4 years now, what's been happening on YouTube is something that I haven't heard anybody else talking about. Now, I don't watch everything, obviously, so someone else might have mentioned this before. And it's got nothing to do with me specifically. It's got to do with the way that YouTube is handling comments these days, in that it's kind of soft censoring some of the comments that come, like are posted on videos, in that they're generally hidden from view. You can't see them. If you just open the video and start watching it, you can't see the comments. To see the comments, you have to click the Sort By button up above the comments and then pick Newest first. And then you can scroll down and read all of the comments that were posted, except for the ones that were blocked for spam or were deleted by the person that made the video. Right? These comments are being hidden. I'm not sure what mechanism is at work here, whether it's a YouTube bot that's filtering out objectionable content. Like if you say something negative, clearly negative, and you're doing this over and over again, your comment is most likely going to be hidden from general view. And you can see this, well, you pick any video that is on a semi-controversial topic, you're going to get those kind of comments, and almost certainly they're going to be hidden. And like I said, I don't know what mechanism is at work here, whether the people are voting them down. I don't think that's it. I think it's more likely that it's the YouTube bot that's sorting through the comments, and first of all, is taking all the negative ones and is pushing them down towards the bottom. So all the positivity is up at top and all the negativity settles to the bottom. And it outright hides some of the ones that it thinks, it judges to be either inappropriate, maybe, or confrontational, or insulting, or any of these reasons. But it's something that I've noticed over the past at least 2-3 years. Yeah, I just thought I'd bring that to your attention if you happen to see that kind of thing or had it happen to you. That's what's going on.
Aren't there other ways I could get pregnant, like sitting on a toilet seat?
Absolutely. There would need to be a guy sitting between you and the toilet seat, but yes, absolutely. He's doing so well.